I've last time I did a video on sweet potatoes, I had 1,000 views. Good for me. I've gone out, run out, and bought. I've been waiting for these for months now. I was expecting them Easter holidays, but they didn't come. So there's sweet potatoes. There's two different varieties: Burgundy and from Sutton Seeds, and Beauregard. I've heard of Beauregard, that's been around for years. I've never heard of Burgundy. But what I like about these is it's hard to get a yield in England, but we did it last year with a greenhouse. So we're going to do better this year. I'm going to have a play around with it. I haven't done it from slips or cut from my own tubers because I haven't really sussed out sweet potatoes properly. But what we're going to do, I'm going to take some cuttings off this. There's plenty of cutting material. Anyway, it's got to go indoors, so I don't want it too big indoors because it's way too early to go out. It won't even stay in this greenhouse, so I'm just working in here. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to pop these up into some good compost, new compost, and nurture them indoors for a couple more months. And then I'll take some cuttings, like I say. I'm interested to find out whether or not this was from a slip or is a piece of sweet potato. I'll just have a little ferret around a bit, see if we can find it. It may not be. I think it's a slip. A slip is a cutting. Yeah. No, I can't find. No, I can't find any lumps. So that's interesting. Right.
Yeah.
This one's what is it? Beauregard? Yeah, it's Beauregard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut just below a node. I want this to push up anyway, so just before a node I'm going to cut that and then make cuttings. I'll put them in a jar of water. So again, another one just below a node. So cut it just below a node. So that's two from Beauregard. What I'll do is, no, I'm not doing pots, am I? Right. I'll have to put these in jars of water, get them in some water, and then once the roots come out, I should say a couple of weeks, and then we'll have new potatoes. Hopefully, well, I'll let you know how I get on, but that's how it should work. Today we're going to do, I just got back from work, so tonight we're going to do potting up my ricotta chilies. Now ricotta chilies are a hardy chili, when I say hardy, they come from the Andes. They're reputed to take a little bit of frost, which I don't agree with. I had one outdoors. It survived until the 23rd of December, and then expired. So that's pretty good go for a chili. That's pretty good going. But the first actual dip below 0 degrees killed it. So the question remains, if I put some fleece over it or put a plastic hoop over it, would it have survived? Well, there's only one way to find out, really, isn't it? But first we've got spring and summer to do, and autumn to do first. But so what I did was I took some of the fruit from last year, took the seeds, and then sowed them. I think it was December or early January. They shot off. The comparison with the other chilies, so ricotta or locoto, we'll call it ricotta, there's more than one name, manzano I think they call it as well. It's Capsicum pubescens, because it's got furry leaves, pubes. So there is a hardiness there because it's shot off. Now the ricotta chilies I've got now that I sowed in December or January, whatever it was, are huge. I'm going to be potting them up into a bigger pot, whereas the seeds I took from the lemonade took about 2 months to germinate. The Zimbabwe Black, I really fancied a purple leaf chili. I've seen one in somebody's front garden in Easton, which is a district of Bristol. He or she had a couple of really nice giant chili plants in the front garden. I saw this purple one and I wanted one too, so I bought some Zimbabwe Blacks. The first 2 packets, none of them appeared, and this is putting them onto a radiator. And the third packet I sowed, bearing in mind each packet was about £2.99 for 10 seeds, something like that. I can't remember what it was. The third packet I got one come up, which is doing, it's quite healthy, but it's an inch tall when the locotos are sort of 8 inches tall. And then the final 4th packet, because I wanted more than one, I put in about a month ago, and none of them appeared. Again, it's on a radiator with some cling film on top. It should be germinating, should be shooting off. So I haven't been impressed with that, but it may just be my gardening skills that are just not good enough. So it's just something I've got to develop as a gardener. I've got to develop my skills. So now, so we're going to pot the ricotos. They are a good, I think that's a good plant. If they germinate well, and they grow big indoors in late winter, early spring, under some of those little IKEA lights that I recommend highly. Again, people have said on the internet, no, they're not good enough, not enough wattage, all the rest of it. No, they're really good. I think they're excellent, and I can trust that it's not like something I bought over the internet. I can't trust not to burn the house down. This is something you can buy off on the high street, and it does the job. Really, I'm sure things do the job better, but I think, as an amateur, I think they're great. So they did well under that. The lemonade, which is a really good, really productive chili, quite hot, and it's a yellow. It produces a yellow chilli. That's I think I've got 5 or 6 of them came up, but they took a long time to germinate, about 2 months. So, but they're they're tiny in comparison to the Rocoto. So hopefully they'll grow big and fruit before autumn. But anyway, so that's that. We'll get on with that. These are the offending items. These are the Rocoto chilies. As you can see, they've got really furry leaves, which is where they get their name, Capsicum pubescens. But they've been under lights since December or January. So they're quite a peculiar cut. When you actually take it into real daylight, they look quite peculiar. But I'm sure they'll be fine. I will grow these outdoors. I've got quite a good crop of these. Quite big red, quite hot fruits, and they're roundish, and they have a confusing. The seeds are the wrong colour. They've got black seeds, where most chilies have a tan seed. So, but yeah, I enjoy, because they're quite rare and they're a little bit hardier. They're quite enjoyable to grow. Oh, how did that get there? Yeah, it's quite a nice. It's quite a nice root system, and I'm going to put that in there. So I want it to grow steadily. I'm using sort of classical gardening techniques. So I'm using loads of compost, fresh compost, and I'm starting off with little pots. Start the seed off in a little pot. Separate them out, prick them out into a bigger pot individually, and then keep growing growing the size of a pot until they're in there, until they're ready to go out in the garden. So it's a very conventional technique, but it produces a nice plant.